The thing about saving 37 lives is that nobody believes you when you look like the man who just drives the yellow bus. The thing about being invisible for 23 years is you start to believe it yourself. Until the morning your daughter is in the third row and the pickup truck is coming at 52 miles per hour, and you realize, in the half-second before impact, that someone in this district was warned about that intersection 7 times and did nothing. Welcome back again. One more story. Get comfortable, grab something warm, and remember, the people in these stories always had a choice. They just forgot that so did he. Drop a comment and subscribe. You're going to want to be here for this one. 4:47 a.m. The alarm didn't wake me. It never did. I'd been awake since 4:32, staring at the ceiling in Millbrook, Ohio, population 8,400, 1 high school, 2 elementary schools, 31 buses, and exactly 1 intersection I'd learned to fear. My name is David Carter. For 23 years, I drove bus 114 on Route 7. For 7 of those years, I filed reports about what was wrong at Oak and 4th. Nobody read them. But that's not the part that matters yet. The pre-trip inspection took 11 minutes. I started at the driver's side headlight and worked my way around. Tires, lights, mirrors, emergency exits. Stop arm, crossing gate. I knelt on the cold asphalt and checked the brake lines with a flashlight. The district manual required a visual walk-around. It did not require kneeling. It did not require the flashlight. It did not require half of what I did. I did it anyway. Sarah had painted my inspection clipboard when she was 7, a yellow flower on black checkered tape. The paint was almost gone now. She was 9, she would be 10 in March. She rode my bus every morning, 3rd row, window, passenger side. Stuffed rabbit named Checkers on her lap, that was her ritual. The clipboard was mine. The bus yard sat behind the transportation office, a cinder block building that smelled like diesel and burnt coffee. The coffee machine had been broken since February. Patricia, the transportation secretary, had filed 3 maintenance requests. The new superintendent, Dr. Eleanor Vance, had approved a $12,000 renovation of the administration conference room during the same budget cycle. The coffee machine remained unfixed. Patricia was 72. She'd worked here 19 years. She kept a file drawer filled with every thank you note ever sent to the department. The drawer was half full, 19 years of gratitude, half a drawer. She never mentioned it. I never mentioned that I knew. Morning, Patricia. David. She looked at me over her glasses. Patricia only used first names for people she respected. Everyone else got titles. Superintendent's office called, 10 a.m. About what? She didn't answer. She didn't need to. Budget season. Route consolidation. Bill Henderson's job on the line. Bill drove Route 12. 14 years. 0 accidents. 3 kids in the district. He ate lunch in his bus every day instead of the break room. He said he didn't trust a place he couldn't see his bus from. 6:15 a.m. First pickup. Marcus Williams, 12 years old. Science fair ribbon still pinned to his backpack from last spring. He'd been riding my bus since kindergarten. Carsick if he sat anywhere but the window, row 4, right side. I'd written it in my pocket notebook his first week. I'd written everything in those notebooks, 14 of them, 1,847 student names across 23 years, who needed the front seat, who hadn't eaten breakfast, whose parents were divorcing, whose shoes were too small. I never told anyone about the notebooks. They weren't for anyone else. Morning, Mr. Carter. Morning, Marcus. Science fair next month. You ready? Got my project picked out, volcanoes. Classic, he grinned and took his seat. Behind him, Emily Chen climbed aboard, quiet, shoulders tight. I'd noticed 3 weeks ago that she'd stopped sitting with her friends. I'd written it down. Page 189. Emily Chen, parents separating, needs front row where she can see the road. Feels safer. I didn't ask her about it. I just made sure the front seat was always open. The route continued. 15 stops, 38 miles. Past Frank's Diner, where my coffee had cost $1 instead of $2.25 for 17 years. Frank had never explained why. I'd never asked. Past the church parking lot where I sometimes parked during dead time, engine off, watching the light change through the stained glass windows. Past the intersection, Oak and 4th. I slowed to 5 miles per hour. I always slowed there. The stop sign on the southwest corner sat half hidden behind an oak tree that hadn't been trimmed in a decade. A utility pole blocked the sight line from the south. Posted speed limit, 35. Actual traffic speed, closer to 50. I'd measured it. I'd photographed it. I'd filed 7 reports over 7 years. The first one was dated March 14, 2019. Stop sign obscured. Sight line compromised. Recommend tree trimming and speed reduction to 25. The district had sent an automated acknowledgement. Nothing else. I checked my mirrors. Left, right. The bus was full of children whose parents handed them to me every morning without knowing my name. 41 students. I knew all of theirs. 7:02 a.m. Stop 7. Sarah climbed aboard, 3rd row, window, passenger side, checkers on her lap. Morning, Dad. Morning, Sarah Bear. She smiled. She always smiled. She was 9. She still smiled at her dad. I knew that wouldn't last forever. I wrote it down anyway, not in the notebook, somewhere else. The dead time between morning and afternoon routes was supposed to be empty. 9:00 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. 4.5 hours of waiting. But I didn't wait. I reviewed maintenance logs. I checked tire pressure. I cleaned the seats where someone had left a juice stain. And I waited for the 10 a.m. meeting with Dr. Vance. The administration building sat on the other side of the football field, glass and steel, built 3 years ago for $4.2 million. The transportation office had a broken coffee machine. Dr. Vance's office had a mahogany desk and leather chairs and windows facing the field. She was 52, Ph.D. from Northwestern, 2 years in Millbrook. She had never ridden a school bus here. She had never walked through the bus yard. Her car, a black Lexus, was always parked in the spot closest to the entrance. "Mr. Carter, please sit." I sat. I didn't speak. 23 years of driving had taught me when to wait. "The district is facing significant budget constraints," she said. "We're reviewing all transportation operations for consolidation. Your route and Route 12 are being considered for merger. This would eliminate one driver position. Bill Henderson. Seniority rules would apply. Bill has 14 years. I have 23. So Bill loses his job. The district appreciates Mr. Henderson's service." I looked at her. The part of me that had been quiet for 23 years stirred but did not speak. "What about the intersection?" "The intersection, Oak and 4th. I've filed 7 reports. The sight lines are compromised. A consolidated route means a larger bus going through there twice a day. The turning radius is different. The visibility is worse. Has anyone reviewed those reports, Doctor?" Vance's expression flickered. Not guilt. Confusion, genuine confusion. She didn't know about the reports. They had been filed correctly. They had been acknowledged. They had been buried somewhere in a system she had inherited but never examined. I'm not familiar with those. They're in the transportation office, filed properly, 7 of them. Over 7 years. I'll have someone look into it. The consolidation vote is in 2 weeks. I nodded, I stood, I walked out. I didn't slam the door. I didn't raise my voice. I walked back to the bus yard and sat in bus 114 for 14 minutes. Did not start the engine. That killed me a little. I absolutely did not show it. If you're still with me, do one thing. Hit subscribe. A lot of people watch and never do it. It costs nothing and it means everything to us here. 3 days later, I found the file. I wasn't looking for it. I was in the transportation office. digging through old maintenance records, trying to find the service history for bus 114's brakes. Patricia was at lunch. The file cabinet in the corner was supposed to contain vehicle records only. Inside, tucked behind a folder labeled 2009 Budget Projections, was a manila envelope. The envelope contained my 7 inspection reports, all of them, with handwritten notes in the margins. The handwriting belonged to Richard Lowell, the previous superintendent. He'd served from 2015 to 2021, retired to Florida. The notes were dated. Report 1, March 2019, defer to next budget cycle. Report 2, October 2019, tree trimming not prioritized. Report 3, April 2020, COVID delays. Revisit Q3. Report 5, January 2022, budget constraints, low priority. Report 7, September 2023, redirected to facilities, no response received. 7 reports, 7 deferrals. Lowell had read them, he'd annotated them. He decided year after year that the intersection at Oak and 4th was not urgent enough to fix. Then he'd retired. Doctor. Vance had inherited a system she didn't fully understand, but Lowell had known. For 5 of those 7 years he'd known, and he'd done nothing. I sat in the office and held the envelope. The fluorescent lights buzzed. The coffee machine was still broken. I was holding evidence that the district had been aware of a hazardous intersection for 7 years, and had chosen, actively chosen, not to address it. I was holding the thing that would end a career if it became public, but more than that, I was holding something else. A question. Why did Lowell keep the reports? They should have been deleted. Shredded, lost. Instead they were filed carefully in order with his own notes, as if he wanted them found. As if some part of him, before retirement, had understood what he was doing and had left the evidence behind on purpose. That detail would matter before the week was over. I made copies. I put the originals back exactly where I found them. I didn't tell Patricia. I didn't tell Bill. I went home and sat at my kitchen table with 14 notebooks and 1 manila envelope, and the quiet understanding that I now possessed something dangerous. Sarah came into the kitchen. She was holding checkers. She was wearing her pajamas. It was 8:30 p.m. She should have been in bed. Dad. You're doing the face again. What face? Like when the bus makes a weird noise and you have to figure out what's wrong before morning. I looked at her, 9 years old. She'd been riding my bus since she was 6. She knew the sounds of the engine. She knew the rhythm of the route. She knew things most adults never bothered to learn. Something was wrong, I said. I'm figuring it out. Is it fixed? Almost. She thought about this. Then she did something she hadn't done in months. She climbed onto my lap and rested her head against my shoulder. The stuffed rabbit pressed between us. Okay, she said. I'll wait. The board meeting was 11 days away. The consolidation vote was on the agenda. Bill Henderson had already started looking for other work. And in my kitchen, in a manila envelope, I had 7 years of deferred decisions that had put every child on my bus at risk. What I did not know yet was that the board meeting would not be the climax. The intersection had one more thing to teach me, and my daughter would be on the bus when it happened. 11 days passed in the rhythm of the route. 4:47 a.m., pre-trip inspection. 6:15 first pickup. 3:45 afternoon route begins. The routine held. The routine always held. But underneath it something was shifting. I went to Bill's bus during dead time. He was eating a tuna sandwich. The door was open, but I knocked anyway. I found something, I said. I told him about the envelope, about Lowell's notes, about the 7 deferrals. Bill listened without interrupting. When I finished, he set down his sandwich. 14 years I've been driving, he said. I never filed a single report, not one. I saw things, bad things, but I always figured someone else would handle it, someone above me. Someone with more authority. He looked at his steering wheel. You filed 7. Nobody read them. You wrote them, that matters. He didn't say anything else. He didn't need to. Bill had given me something I hadn't known I needed: permission. Not to be angry, to keep going. The afternoon of the accident started like any other. 3:45 p.m. 37 students on board. The 4 who had after-school activities would take the late bus. Sarah was in the 3rd row, Marcus in the 4th, Emily in the front. I checked my mirrors, left, right. The bus was heavy with backpacks and chatter and the particular smell of children at the end of a school day. I approached Oak and 4th at 4:12 p.m. I slowed to 5 miles per hour. I always slowed. I came to a complete stop. I looked left, right, left again. I pulled forward slowly. The pickup truck came from the south at 52 miles per hour. Jason Merrick, 17 years old. Late for football practice. He didn't see the stop sign because the oak tree was in the way. He didn't see the bus because the utility pole blocked his view. He hit the rear passenger side of bus 114 just behind the back axle. The sound was not what you expect, not a crash. A deep shuddering crunch that traveled up through the frame and into my hands on the wheel. The bus lurched sideways. The rear end swung. 37 children screamed. My daughter's voice was one of them. Training took over, 23 years of it. I held the wheel. I kept the bus on the road. I pulled to the shoulder and set the parking brake and turned on the hazards. My hands were steady. My voice was steady. I was not steady, but the bus was. The bus held. Sound off, row by row. Starting from the front. Row 1 okay. Emily, quiet, scared, alive. Row 2 okay. Row 3 okay. Sarah, small voice. She was crying, but she was talking. She was there. Row 4 okay. Marcus. 37 voices, 37 confirmations, bruises, shaking. 1 child threw up, no serious injuries. I stepped off the bus. The rear panel was crumpled. The stop arm was sheared off. The crossing gate was gone, glass on the asphalt. Jason Merrick stood beside his truck, shaking, 17 years old. He kept saying he was sorry. He kept saying he didn't see the stop sign. Nobody had trimmed the tree. Nobody had moved the pole. This kid was going to carry this day for the rest of his life because 7 years of reports had been deferred. I called 911. Paramedics came. Police came. Parents came. The police report noted that my evasive action had prevented a rollover. The news coverage called me a hero. Dr. Vance issued a statement commending my professionalism. She did not mention the intersection. She did not mention the reports. She did not mention Bill. That night I sat in my kitchen. Sarah was asleep. She'd cried for an hour after we got home, then collapsed from exhaustion. Checkers was still clutched in her hands. I sat at the table with the manila envelope and my 14 notebooks and the black binder I'd been preparing for the board meeting. I opened the first notebook. Page 1. My first year. 23 years ago. The handwriting was younger, more careful. The first student I'd ever written down, Catherine Miller, kindergarten, allergic to peanuts, carries EpiPen. Catherine Miller was 28 now. She was a nurse in Columbus. She'd sent me a Christmas card 2 years ago. I still had it. 1,847 students. I had written down every single one. The board meeting was in 2 days. The consolidation vote was still on the agenda. And I had a black binder containing 7 years of evidence that the district had knowingly ignored a safety hazard. I looked at the binder. I looked at my father's Casio watch. 1:47 a.m. Good, said the part of me I was not proud of. I did not say it out loud. The board meeting room held 120 people. Usually, 12 showed up. That night the room was full by 6:30. Patricia had made calls. Bill had made calls. Parents had made calls. I didn't know any of this until I walked in and saw them. Marcus Williams and his mother. Emily Chen and her father. Tyler Jackson's grandmother. Frank from the diner. The mechanic who'd been maintaining bus 114 for 17 years, and 37 children from Route 7. The same 37 who had been on the bus. Sarah sat in the third row of folding chairs, checkers on her lap. She looked at me, I looked at her. Neither of us spoke. The meeting began. Pledge of Allegiance, minutes, budget review, item 7, route consolidation. Dr. Vance presented her proposal, slides, graphs, projections. $62,000 saved annually. 1 driver position eliminated. Efficiency optimized. She did not mention the accident. She did not mention the intersection. Public comment opened. I walked to the podium. My name is David Carter, bus 114, Route 7. 23 years. I placed the binder on the podium. 2 days ago, a pickup truck ran the stop sign at Oak and 4th and hit my bus. 37 children were on board. One of them was my daughter. No one was seriously injured. The police said my evasive action prevented a rollover. I'm grateful for that. But I want to tell you what happened before the accident. I opened the binder. Over the last 7 years, I filed 7 inspection reports about the Oak and 4th intersection. The stop sign is obscured by an oak tree. The sight line is blocked by a utility pole. The speed limit is 35 but traffic moves at 50. I documented all of it. I filed the reports properly. I received automated confirmations. Nothing was done. I paused. The room was silent. The fluorescent lights buzzed. 3 days ago, I found those reports in a file cabinet in the transportation office. They were annotated by the previous superintendent. Handwritten notes. Defer to next budget cycle. Not prioritized. Redirected. 7 reports, 7 deferrals. For 7 years, the district knew about the hazard and chose to do nothing. I looked at the board members. 5 people. 3 of them had kids I'd driven. I am not here to assign blame. I'm here to ask 2 things. First, fix the intersection, trim the tree, move the pole, lower the speed limit, do it now, before there's another accident, before someone dies. Second, reject the route consolidation. Not for me, for Bill Henderson, 14 years, 0 accidents, 3 kids in this district. He deserves better than to lose his job because of a budget spreadsheet. I closed the binder. I've driven 1,847 students over 23 years. I've never had an accident until 2 days ago. 0 accidents, 23 years. I kept a notebook with every student's name, every seat assignment, everything I noticed that nobody else did. I never told anyone. I just drove the route. I looked at Dr. Vance. She was sitting at the side of the room, very still. You don't know me, I said. You've been here 2 years. You inherited a system you didn't build. I understand that, but these parents know me. These kids know me. And I'm asking you to see what they see. Not a line item, a person. A person who checks his brake lines at 5:30 in the morning even though nobody asked him to. A person whose daughter is in the 3rd row. I stepped back. The room did not erupt. It did something quieter. A man in the 3rd row stood up. It was Marcus Williams's father. He didn't speak. He just stood. Then Emily Chen's father stood. Then Tyler Jackson's grandmother. Then 10 more parents, then 20. Then the children started standing. Marcus, Emily, Tyler, 37 kids from Route 7, they all stood up. In the silence, Sarah walked to the podium. 9 years old, stuffed rabbit in one hand, crayon drawing in the other. She didn't say anything. She just held up the picture, a yellow bus, 41 stick figures. At the top, in careful 9-year-old handwriting, my dad keeps us safe. The board chair removed his glasses. The school board member from Ward 2, the one who had pushed hardest for cuts, looked at the drawing. Then he looked at me, then at Dr. Vance. The expression on his face was not guilt. It was recognition. He had 3 grandchildren in the district. 2 of them rode my bus. He had never asked their bus driver's name. The vote was unanimous. No consolidation. Full safety review at Oak and 4th. Tree trimmed within 2 weeks. Utility pole relocated. Speed limit reduced to 25. Bill Henderson's job protected. And an additional vote, not on the agenda, to commission an independent audit of all transportation safety protocols. Afterward, people came up to me. Parents whose names I knew. Kids I'd watched grow up. The last person was Dr. Vance. She didn't shake my hand. She didn't apologize. She just looked at me for a long moment. I didn't know about the reports, she said. I know, I should have. Yes, she nodded slowly, not forgiveness, not absolution, understanding. The look of someone who had inherited a system she didn't fully comprehend and was just beginning to realize what that meant. She walked away. I didn't stop her. I woke up the next morning at 4:47 a.m. The alarm went off in a dark bedroom in Millbrook, Ohio. Population 8,400. 1 high school, 2 elementary schools, 31 school buses. Bus 114 was back from the repair shop. The rear panel was fixed, the stop arm was new, the crossing gate was new, the dent was gone. I drove to the lot. I did my pre-trip inspection. 11 minutes, tires, lights, mirrors, emergency exits. Stop arm, crossing gate. I knelt and checked the brake lines with a flashlight. Nobody asked me to kneel. Nobody ever did. I did it anyway. 6:15 a.m. Marcus Williams. His mom waved from the porch. The wave looked different now. It looked like it meant something more. Emily Chen took her front seat. She almost smiled. Sarah boarded at 7:02, third row, window, passenger side, checkers on her lap. Her drawing was taped above her seat. The bus smelled like crayons and cold air and routine. It smelled like 23 years. It smelled like the thing I had built without anyone asking me to build it. I checked my mirrors. Left mirror, right mirror. I could see the entire length of the bus. I could see 41 seats. I could see my daughter in the third row. The notebook was in my pocket. Page 214, room for a few more names. I pulled out of the lot and began the route. 38 miles, twice a day. 180 days a year. The same corners, the same stops, the same children. And for the first time in 7 years, when I reached Oak and 4th, I didn't slow to 5 miles per hour. I slowed to 5 miles per hour anyway. Old habits, but the tree was trimmed. The pole was gone. The speed limit sign read 25. And I drove through the intersection that I had warned them about for 7 years, and nothing happened, which was exactly how it was supposed to be. If this story stayed with you, join our family by hitting like and subscribing. Real stories, real fathers, real strength. Thank you for being here.